Look at her footwork in that clip. She fakes one way, then confidently pulls up for a shot. This isn't the Caitlin Clark we saw struggle with screens last season, this is something new. If the Indiana Fever can do this regularly, the whole league will face a challenge they haven't seen before. Many people argue about whether she should always have the ball, but the real point is she just added a new skill that could make her nearly impossible to guard. The comparison to Steph Curry isn't just praise, it's smart analysis. Curry changed the game because defenses couldn't only stop his drives, they had to follow him through screens. And the moment they lost him for even a second, he'd shoot, and it would go in. Now look at what Caitlin is doing in the gym. She's not moving randomly, she's practicing the same kinds of moves that made Curry so hard to guard: sharp cuts, quick jumps right after catching the ball, and shooting even with a hand in her face after sprinting 20 feet. But there's a big problem with this plan, and it's not Caitlin's skills. Energy conservation is the hidden advantage most people miss. Creating your own shot off the dribble is tiring, you're handling the ball, breaking down defenders, reading help defense, and making split-second decisions while your heart rate soars. Every possession becomes a workout. But coming off screens is different. Your teammates do half the work, the screener creates space, and you just decide whether to curl or fade. You catch the ball in rhythm, ready to shoot, with fresh legs and a clear mind. Think about last season's playoffs. Caitlin played 509 minutes over 11 games, averaging over 46 minutes a game. She looked exhausted in the fourth quarters, especially against Connecticut. Her three-point shooting dropped from 41% in the regular season to 34% in the playoffs. That's not a coincidence, it's fatigue. But here's where the idea meets reality. Those screens have to be excellent, not just okay or decent, and that's been the Fever's weak spot. Last season, Indiana ranked 11th out of 12 teams in screen assists. Their bigs weren't just setting soft screens, they were going through the motions without creating real space. Aaliyah Boston, even with her strong defense, struggled with the physicality needed to free shooters, and Nalissa Smith was inconsistent. By August, screening got a little better, but the tape shows that when Caitlin came off screens, defenders were still on her. She wasn't getting the clean looks that make this system deadly, she was still making plays, just in a different spot on the floor. So, the real question isn't whether Caitlin can run this system. It's whether her teammates can do their part. And let's talk about those shoes for a second, this is more important than it looks. These aren't just any shoes, they're a custom design, meaning Nike is putting serious investment into her signature line. The camouflage pattern, the attention to detail, and the fact that she's wearing unreleased designs in training all matter. Nike sold out the first 3 Caitlin Clark signature releases in under 48 hours each, WNBA shoes moving at Air Jordan speed. Her line made more revenue in 6 months than any other WNBA signature shoe had in 3 years. This isn't just about popularity, it shows Nike sees her as a long-term investment worth protecting. And that brings us to something more concerning in the footage. Look at her arms, that's not just off-season training, that's serious muscle. We saw what happened last time she bulked up. In 2024, Caitlin added noticeable upper body strength, which should help her finish through contact, rebound better, and handle a full season physically. But her shooting took a hit, her three-point percentage dropped from 38% in college to 34% in her first pro season, and her free throw rate fell from 91% to 88%. Those small changes matter a lot for an elite shooter. Adding muscle subtly changes your mechanics, release point shifts, touch feels heavier, and the ball leaves your fingers differently. During rehab, she looked leaner, but now in January, she's carrying significant muscle again. Either she's figured out how to keep her shot with the added strength, or we might see the same struggles repeat. But let's set her physical changes aside for a moment. Listen to what she says about her injury. She's not just talking about getting healthy. She's talking about empathy, understanding what her teammates go through, and being the person who checks in on others. That's leadership, especially for a second-year player. Most young stars focus only on their own comeback and stats, but Caitlin is thinking about how this experience can make her a better teammate for everyone in the future. This matters because the Fever need her to be more than their best player, they need her to set the culture. Kelsey Mitchell brings veteran experience, Aaliyah Boston anchors the defense, but Caitlin is the face of the franchise. Everyone looks to her when things get tough. Using a painful injury as a lesson in leadership shows her mindset. She's not just aiming to return to where she was, she's aiming to become something bigger. Here's what really matters: the off-ball movement, the strength training, the leadership growth, the signature shoes, they all connect. It all comes down to one question: what does a healthy, fully developed Caitlin Clark look like at her peak? We haven't seen it yet. Her rookie season was historic but incomplete. She missed the final playoff games with a groin injury that limited her mobility, and the Fever lost to Connecticut in the first round. You could see her struggling to create space in those final games. Imagine if she'd been healthy. Indiana went 20-20 in the regular season with a chaotic roster, Kelsey Mitchell often out of position, Nalissa Smith in trade rumors, a new coaching staff, and players who'd never played together. And they still made the playoffs in the league's toughest conference. A fully healthy Caitlin changes everything. She averages 19 points and 8 assists when fully fit. Her usage rate drops because she's not forcing shots through pain. Her assist-to-turnover ratio improves because she's making reads in rhythm. But here's the deeper question: was last season's injury just bad luck, or a warning sign? Groin injuries often become chronic for guards with her style: constant direction changes, explosive first steps, and the physical toll of being the primary ball handler. Even stars like Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving struggled with injuries early in their careers. Caitlin says she's 100% now, but being 100% in January isn't the same as staying healthy through 30 games against defenses designed to stop her. That's why the off-ball system matters. It's not just variety, it's survival. Letting teammates create space reduces the physical punishment she takes, keeping her healthy for the playoffs instead of limping through them. But if Indiana's bigs can't free her consistently, she'll fall back to creating everything off the dribble, and that groin injury could just be the first of many. The Fever have a choice: keep running Caitlin into the ground as their primary creator and hope she stays healthy, or build a system that protects their most valuable asset while making her even more dangerous. Because if Caitlin becomes a true off-ball threat, coming off screens like Curry, catching in rhythm with fresh legs, and still able to attack the basket when defenders overplay the screens, no defense can stop her. You'd need 2 elite defenders just to slow her down, leaving someone else wide open. Kelsey Mitchell averaged 18 points per game last season with minimal defensive attention. What happens when she becomes the second option, getting single coverage because 2 defenders are chasing Caitlin? Aaliyah Boston shot 57% from the field but only took 11 shots per game. Imagine her rolling to the basket with a completely scrambled defense. Last season, the Fever were just competitive, they had a flawed system and an injured star. Fix those 2 problems, and this team isn't just chasing a playoff spot, they're chasing a championship. But it all comes down to the screens, Caitlin's health, and whether the coaching staff has the courage to take some of the ball handling pressure off her to keep her fresh. So when you watch her training footage working on off-ball movement, you're not just seeing skill development, you're seeing the Fever's future taking shape. Either they figure it out and become real contenders, or they waste another season running the same flawed system and hoping for different results. The talent is there, the star power is there, the question is whether everyone else can rise to the occasion, because Caitlin Clark is clearly doing her part. Now it's time for the rest of the organization to do theirs.